My client wanted to take what she'd learned from working with private one-on-one clients and turn it into a course. The problem she faced was she didn't have a large email list, and she also didn't have a large social media following. Her goal was 20 course sales for her very first course. We ended up with 32 sales at $397 a course, which ended up being $12,704 for her very first course launch. In this video, I am going to share with you how she got in front of the right people and also the system that I set up in the back end to support her entire launch. Before we jump in and I share with you how I built all of the backend systems for her launch, I want to start by sharing how she reached the people who needed her course. So, like I mentioned in the intro, she didn't have a large email list or a large social media following. But what she did have was relationships with people that she had met over the years. These people had an audience who were similar to the audience she wanted to reach for her course. So she reached out to these connections and she set up webinars with each of the communities. She found 5 people who were willing to have her come on and present a webinar to their group and present her offer. So one key thing I want to point out about this is these aren't random people who had the audience that she wanted to reach. These were people that she had built relationships with over time. And in building those relationships, they trusted her enough and knew about her work enough to be comfortable letting her come on and present a webinar for their community. And another key thing that she didn't just present a webinar to the community. She had her connection or the person she had built a relationship with come on to the webinar with her first, introduce her to their community, which immediately helped her build trust with the community. And then she took over and presented her webinar. So if you don't have a large email list or a large following, think about the relationships that you're building with the people that you come in contact with. These people may be able to help you down the road when you're ready to promote your offer if you don't have a large following to promote it to or a large warm audience to promote your offer to. So now let's jump in and I will show you the exact back-end system setup that I set up for her to support her launch. Here is the webinar funnel map that I set up for my client to launch her first course, and I'll walk you through step by step. So let me enlarge the screen. Okay, so we start with the webinar opt-in. And I shared that she decided to go with that strategy. There are lots of different strategies that you can use to launch your course, but this one worked particularly well for her because she had those connections that she could reach out to present her offer. And they were willing to let her come on and do a webinar for their community. So I set up the webinar opt-in. The people who wanted to register completed the form and received a thank you for registering. And on this registration page, it included the typical things like what time the webinar was, what day the webinar was, but it also included things to encourage them to attend the webinar. So when you're setting up your thank you page, think of things that you can add to your thank you page that will continue to keep them engaged and excited about joining your webinar. You want it to be more than just facts about the webinar. You want it to connect with them so that they are going to continue to think about the webinar days after they register and actually show up to attend the webinar. that's a very important piece of the thank you page that a lot of people leave out. From there, they receive a confirmation email and reminders. And again, the confirmation email and reminders should give them more than just the details. So think about how you can keep them connected, how you can keep them engaged, and how you can encourage them to show up live for your webinar. And include those things in the confirmation email and also in the reminder emails. The next step after the confirmation and the reminders is the actual live webinar. So one of the things to keep in mind when you're setting up your webinar, whether you're using a webinar platform or whether you're going through Zoom, you want to make sure that you're able to track who attends and who doesn't attend, and you're able to transfer that information into your CRM. So you want to have your CRM integrated with whatever webinar platform you're using, so that you can segment your list by who attended and who didn't attend and follow up with them with very specific email campaigns for each category. So that's the live webinar. She presented the live webinar. She did a wonderful job on the webinar, and her goal was 20 people. She was able to enroll 23 people just by the attendance of the webinar alone. So they attended the webinar. She presented a link to purchase a course. They went to the checkout page and purchased, and then I set up her delivery system so that once they paid, then they were immediately sent the information for how to access the membership area and the course and how to get started. So I set up all of that within her platform, so everything was automatic, and there wasn't anything that she needed to personally do to onboard the people who purchased the course. So you have these people who attended live. You also have the people who didn't attend live and who didn't purchase. So here you have people who attended live and purchased. And here you have the people who either didn't attend live or attended live but didn't purchase. So these people received email follow-ups that were specific to whether they attended or didn't attend. They received the replay and they received a link to purchase the course. As a result of this follow-up email sequence after the webinar for the people who didn't purchase, she had an additional 9 people who purchased the course just based on the emails and receiving the replay. So the replay goes to the checkout page and then again to the members area and onboarding. So that's how my client was able to sell out her very first course without a large list or a large social media following. If you are watching this video and you need something set up to launch your course similar to what I set up for my client, then look in the description below and you will see a link to be able to contact me to either build out your system or learn more about some of the other ways that I work with clients and the platform that I recommend to set all of this up. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe if you're not subscribed, and I look forward to connecting with you again on my next video.